everyone, so today's video is going to be another kind of girly chat video. I haven't done one of these in ages, but they're the type of videos that I just need to kind of have a bit of inspiration for, and I need to have a topic that I want to talk about, and they are one of my kind of most loved videos to make, and I know that they're one of the videos that you guys enjoy watching the most, but I just feel like they need a bit of direction, otherwise I can just ramble about no specific topic and then it's hard to pick a name and all that kind of thing, so it's all very complicated business. But today's video is something that I have kind of touched on. I've touched on the concept of body image in relationships before, and I will link that video down below. And I just kind of wanted to talk about it in the sense of how different body image is for men and for women, and how men don't understand our concept of body image. Because a couple of days ago I was talking to my boyfriend about somebody who I know who is very, 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 very slim. She's absolutely teeny tiny, and it's not that I think that I'm huge, I just, next to her, feel like an elephant because she is so tiny. And I'm sure we've all been there, we've all felt it for a minute. You kind of think like, oh god, look, I'm an elephant, look at how skinny she is. You'll kind of feel it for a minute and then it goes away. But I was saying that anyway, and he has kind of changed, because when we first got together my body image issues were a lot worse, and I used to talk about it a lot, and he was very helpful, very reassuring. It was always a case of, no, you're not, you're beautiful, you know, nothing's wrong with you, blah blah blah. But I think what has happened is, in a way, my body image has gotten better, but also I've talked about it so long, and we've been together for nearly 5 years, that I've talked about it so much that it's worn him out and he just can't hear it anymore, doesn't care. It's just not something that anyone else can really help you with. And I think men realise that. They set off at the start trying to help you conquer your body image, and hoping that by, you know, loving you and showing you how amazing they think you are, that it's going to cure it. And it's such a deep-rooted problem that I don't think that ever actually really happens, and they really try, and then when they realise that your body image is your body image and that there's nothing that they can do to make it better, then they just kind of stop. And it must be very hard for them to have to listen to us going on about it all the time, because it's boring. It's like when you have a friend who is really skinny or you think's really beautiful, and all they go on about is how fat they are and how ugly they are. It is annoying. You kind of feel like, oh, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about, kind of thing. And I think that's probably how most guys feel about it. They feel like, what's the point in trying, kind of thing. You've got what you've got in your head, and what I think doesn't make any difference. And I think a lot of the time they kind of find it a bit insulting, because they think you're beautiful and you don't, and then I think they might kind of feel like you're not dismissing them, but you're not believing what they're saying, and they don't understand that it's so much more than that. There's so much more involved, kind of thing. And men are never ever going to feel the same way as women, I don't think, about this, because they're never going to have the same amount of pressure put on them. Yes, they do have more pressure now than you would have had before, and men do still kind of need to keep on top of their physique and still, you know, work out and try and look good and all that kind of thing. But I don't think it's ever going to be for the same reasons as it is with women. It's just that kind of classic stereotype of, you know, you can have a guy on telly who's older, not that attractive, and is like the host of a TV program, and then the girl next to him will always be very pretty, very young, a certain size, and it's just how it is. It's how the world is, and it's not fair and it sucks, but it's just how it is. Guys can get away with a lot more. So in that way, you're very, very lucky, men, because you can kind of get away with a lot more. But with women, you kind of, as much as we like to kind of be feminists and say that it's not like that, there is that perception of, you need to be beautiful, you need to be skinny, you need to be a certain way to be classically defined as attractive. And we know that actually that's complete rubbish, and that it doesn't work like that, and that's not how people work, that's not really how men work, but it's kind of how society makes you feel. And I think a lot of the time, a lot of guys, and this is probably a little bit of a risky thing to say, and I'm kind of pre-warning that any comments that will try and twist what I'm saying now and make out like I'm saying something horrible will just be ignored, because it's not what I'm trying to say at all. And I know you're probably thinking, well, why say it if you know it's going to be controversial? But these are controversial topics anyway. But I think a lot of men do prefer girls with a little bit of meat on them, and that's not to say that if you're very, very skinny or very, very slim that, you know, you're gross and no man's ever going to find you attractive, because that is absolute rubbish, and everybody knows that that's not the case at all. But at least the vast majority of men that I have been with liked women that had a little bit more meat on them. And maybe that was just them trying to make me feel better because I'm a little bit chunkier. But they definitely tend to kind of favour that. And it's also obviously really, really, really down to a case of personal taste, because when we have this thing, me and my boyfriend, where we'll have a celebrity list, and we always say that if you ever met this celebrity, I wouldn't mind if you were faithful to me with that celebrity, because you know they're never going to actually meet that celebrity. We have a list, it's a fun thing. So yeah, he was saying something about his list the other day, and I laughed because I said to him, do you realise that every single woman in your list is quite curvy and chunkier generally for an actress or whatever they're being? And he sort of said, no, they're not. They're all thin. And I was just like, yeah, that's the difference. You see, I think men have fat and thin, and that's it. They don't really have an in-between. We have skinny, we have curvy, we have voluptuous, we have like a million different names for a million different things. And to be fair, there are like a million different things. You know, being fat isn't being curvy, and I'm not saying it's fat like in an offensive way, but being a plus size, larger person isn't the same as being someone who is, you know, a sort of waif figure or that kind of thing. There are different topics and different categories, but I think men tend to kind of simplify things. Men simplify things in life in general, you know, men have good, bad, not much in between. We have a vast grey area. Obviously that's, you know, generally speaking, I can't speak for all men, but that's just kind of my opinion on it. But I also think that men like to kind of just keep their life simple, and he was talking about his list, and some of the women on his list were Jennifer Lawrence, who, by the way, I'm a little bit in love with. I think she's so gorgeous. Jennifer Lawrence, Kelly Brook, who wouldn't? Kelly Brook. Some actress called Gemma something. She's an English actress. Gemma Arterton, something like that. Her, Mila Kunis, which she is very, very petite. She was the exception. And who was the other one he said? I think he said Scarlett Johansson. But those were kind of the women that he said. And I said to him, it's really cool that like all the women that you've picked are bigger. And he just sort of said they're not. And I sort of was trying to explain to him that they were bigger for actresses, for example. And he wasn't quite getting it. And then another friend of ours that was there said, well, my ultimate celebrity crush is Keira Knightley. And then my boyfriend sort of said, yeah, Keira Knightley's very beautiful, but she's too thin for me. And it wasn't kind of meant in an offensive way or anything like that. I honestly don't mean for anyone who's very thin to get offended by that, because as I said, it's just people's personal taste. But he just sort of said she's very thin for me. But then the other guy was saying how amazing he thought her body was. So it is very much a case of personal taste. But most of the men that I've been with did prefer a slightly chunkier girl. And I think what women's perception of a great body is and what men's perception of a great body is sometimes isn't the same. It's like, I think Victoria Beckham looks absolutely amazing, but the majority of men you'll ask will say that she's not that great looking to them. So I think it is something that's very much down to the individual, but there is kind of a general guideline, and that we like to kind of concentrate on our body image a lot, whereas men do have body image issues, I think, but I think they just kind of get on with it and hide them a little bit more. And I think that their body image issues aren't triggered as much. Obviously there's like a rise in eating disorders in men and things like that, and it is kind of getting worse, but I don't think it'll ever catch up and be on the same caliber as female body image issues. And it's very, very difficult when you're in a relationship, or not even in a relationship, but it's very difficult to try and get them to understand body image issues, because I think it's one of those things that unless you've had them, you're never ever going to understand, and you're just going to think that that person is a bit nuts. And I have got friends who have had really, really bad body image issues, and they can get it, but then I've got friends who are just kind of okay, perfectly content with their figures kind of thing, or don't tend to think about it, and I'll tell them and they just really, really, really don't understand what I'm talking about. And that's what happens with most men. They just don't understand what you're talking about, and they think that you're amazing and beautiful and gorgeous how you are, whether you're Kelly Brook or Keira Knightley, and they don't like it when we diss ourselves and we talk badly about our bodies and we put ourselves down, because to them I think it's just it's depressing. It's not very nice to be around when someone's in kind of like one of those depressed body moods. I know, like, I'm not very nice to be around when I'm in one of those moods, and it's difficult for them as well. And I think we forget that a little bit. I think we concentrate so much on us and our body image that we forget that it's probably quite difficult for men to deal with our body image issues as well, because they just don't understand it and they can't help you, and it's something that they can see that really, really bothers you and makes you unhappy, and they can't help you. And if it's someone that loves you, they want to help you, they want to kind of make it better for you, and they can't. And it's different when it's someone who you're in an intimate relationship as well, because it can really affect that side of it as well. I won't kind of go into too much detail about that, but it can definitely affect that kind of thing, and it's something that, you know, will go through our minds when we're being intimate with someone of, oh, does my belly look alright, oh, am I a bit jiggly? Whereas I don't think men do that. I think they have this like blissful ignorance to just be in the moment and enjoy what they're doing and not worry about whether or not their stretch marks are being enhanced by the light next to the bed or something like that. But yeah, that was just kind of the basic idea for this video. It didn't really have an idea, did it? I just kind of talked, but you guys always ask me to do these, so I did it. I obliged. But I would love to know what you think about this topic. I'm sure you'll all let me know. And any other future requests for these types of topics, always welcome, because as I said, it's very difficult to come up with topics like this, and I do find it a little bit kind of hard to get inspiration when it comes to these types of videos. But I would love for you to suggest some if you have any or anything like that, and let me know what you think and your personal experience with this kind of thing, and if you found anything that helps you or things that kind of make it worse or that kind of thing. So yeah, I'd love to know, and I will see you all in my next video.